Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
In this series of discussions with legends of microfinance, today we have with us a person who needs no introduction at all. This is Jayashree Ben Vyas, Managing Director and CEO of Seva Bank, Shri Seva Sahakari Bank Limited. And in that way, she is a veteran. She has been the MD of Seva Bank since 1986. That means nearly 35 years. She's
Yes.
ably led the institution and shown that how women can be in the forefront of financial inclusion. And along with that, Jayashree has so many other things to her credit. Like she is the first woman independent director on Bombay Stock Exchange. That's something which is proud for us in Sadhan family because she was one of the founding members of Sadhan, as well as she had been the chair and co-chair and has been on the governing board of Sadhan. So Jayashree Bain is very dear to us in the Sadhan family. And of course, at present, she also looks after Friends for Women's World Banking as a chair, and also Indian School of Microfinance for Women as managing trustee. And of course, if I go on listing the various awards and other positions Jayashree Ben has held, then we'll take most of the time for the interview. So I will not venture into that. So Jayashree Ben, welcome to this interaction.
Thank you very much. And I am a part of Sadhan family. That's how I think you should have introduced me like that only. That yes, I am a
No, no,
Sadhan.
you are a part. You are a part of Southern family, certainly.
Yes, yeah, sure.
Jayashree Ben, of course, we'll have a wide-ranging discussion. Firstly, as we all know, you are a chartered accountant and working with the Central Bank of India. How come and what made you transition from that position to Seva Bank?
Yeah, it was 80s, early 80s, where I in 1979 I became chartered accountant, and then I joined in Central Bank of India. My position was, of course, direct officer and then financial analyst. So I was given analysis of you know, big loan credit portfolio, and I was doing it. I did it for 7 years there. I learned a lot from there, but I was not feeling very satisfied and comfortable in doing this kind of work because it was, I mean, say Central Bank is such a big bank, and I was a very small part of that bank in a regional office where proposal will come from branch, and I'll just analyze it, and then it goes regional office, and so those kind of things. And then I realized that I will not be able to survive here for long. Um, and meanwhile, of course, I'm in Ahmedabad. I was in Ahmedabad. I knew Seva Bank. So one day it just came that I met Ilaban, and she was saying that, we are a bank, and now we also want someone who can come here in our bank. And it was just intuition. I think it was intuitionally. I just said, I want to come to your bank, kind of thing. And so so that's how I would say that, I thought, yes, I want to go there, and I decided to go. Of course, Elaban told me that, I can manage that, you can come as a deputation for 1 year, 2 years, see here, and then you decide. But I said, no, I don't want to do like that, because then you are somewhere here and somewhere there. So I just said, no, no, no. I'm decided. I have decided. And I just want to go. That's how it was. Just I would say it was more intuitional rather than anything else.
So Jayashree, you of course, when you're going to transition to Seva Bank, it means that you have started working with Ilaben and her team.
Yeah, she
So, how
was
was your
mentoring.
first contacts and interaction with Elaben, and how it influenced your decision to take up a position at Seva Bank?
See, being a part, being in Ahmedabad, we definitely, everybody would know Seva, and I also knew Seva. And I heard about Seva Bank. I didn't know much about Seva Bank, but I knew that, it is something where it's a women's organization. It is a place where, there is also a bank, and the main objective of this bank is to help these women to come out of cycle of poverty, and they want to, we just want to help them to improve more and more. That was something which I knew. But the first thing which came was that in then 11 said that why don't you come in our general meeting, an AGM. And I went in AGM and I just saw that, there were, of course, first of all, there were so many women. That was one thing. But it was so clear, and, women were also so clear that, what they want from bank. Bank was also very clear that, what we want to do with them. And to be very frank with you, I found that, in central bank, I didn't see and didn't understand. It was holistically, I could not understand everything. Whereas here in one AGM and all these illiterate women, but, I could learn so much from them that, yes, this is banking. This is real banking, This was something which really came, I was very happy with this, to be very frank with you, that no, I will be able to talk with these women. I'll be able to, be with women. That's what I liked about it. They were very clear. Where is profit? Why we have got profit? What we are earning from this, and what bank is earning from that. And all board members were, one was vegetable vendor, one was all those kinds of informal sector women. So it was, they were all economically active. That's what I saw. And they were very brave. And when we could see even on that day only that, how they were, communicating with everybody, each one. So it was very democratic.
Jayashree, like over this last 3.5 decades with Seva Bank, you must have seen a lot of changes in the way the bank has evolved and the financial inclusion. Can you share some of that? How were the early years, 80s, and how things started changing when you came to 90s? And now, where are we now? Broadly, your how that entire process evolved or changed?
Yes, it was, what was very clear in from I think in 80s also, in 90s also, and just now also what we are seeing was that it was basically that, how all these women, we can come out, they can, because they are economically active, how they can come out of, if they had some debts, or, if they were in cycle of poverty, even in spite of working so hard. The first thing which we always wanted was that, we can help them to come out of the debt. That means not all debts, but basically the debts which from money lenders, and it was very expensive. The second was very clear that, they wanted to build their own capital. The third was, that they are already working, doing all economic activities, and how can they expand those economic activities. And the last thing which we also saw, well, and then of course there was learning. I'll talk about the other learnings, but this was three things which was very clear to us. First thing, so in 80s, what we were doing, in late 70s and 80s, what we were doing, very much doing was, that first thing was that, we always wanted that, all these women are going to the money lenders. So how can we bring them out of that? And how can we help them to come out of that debt? So the first loan, which we, of course, first definitely would be told to women that you have to open a saving account and you have to regularly save money in that. It might be 5 rupees, 10 rupees, or 100 rupees. That was definitely there. But the second thing which was there was that, those women who had borrowed from outside, we were giving them a loan. Say, for example, a loan of 5,000 rupees to a woman who had borrowed from a money lender. So what we would do is that we would send our field worker with her, and we will say that, okay, this 5,000 rupees you take, and you give it to the money lender. So at least we are able to help her to save her interest. That's, or not expensive interest. That's what basically thing. So this was, and this kept on happening. The second thing, so that was the first product. I would say first credit product we had was to give a loan to repay the loan. So that was the first product. The second product, it is also same product. The second product was also that they had mortgaged their loans, or they had, even during the drought in rural area, they were even, pledging their ration card for 50 rupees. So they already had little assets, whatever they had mortgaged it or pledged their ornaments and all those things. So the second thing was that how can we help them to bring that assets which they have mortgaged or pledged. So that was the second product which we had. That yes, and which is still we are doing it. That if she has mortgaged her house, if she has mortgaged her land, then we will help her to give that loan, and then she will be able to get back that land or her asset. And the basic objective of this was that, particularly for the land, was that because of that, when they had mortgaged their land, they were not able to earn anything out of that. And when they started having their own land, then they started again, having better income from that land. So, and anyway, the main objective of Seva Bank was, one of the objectives of Seva Bank was also to help them to build their assets. So this was the second thing. This we did. So, and then the third was also helping women to at least learn, or we were helping them to facilitate and motivate to save, because that is the only capital which they have of their own. So I would say in the first 80s, this is what something we were working on. Of course, there were other products and other things also that were happening. Of course, many of the women were saying that they wanted to, because majority of these women, informal sector women, out of them 1/3 of women are home-based workers, like bead rollers or garment makers and others. All artisans, embroidery workers, so many, all of them. And they were saying, and they were also saying that and for them, their home is their workplace. So, and what home? It was only some kind of small, not pakka house, kacha houses and all those things. So they were always saying that, we are working here. And the first thing they were saying that, when it is raining, our home is then, not possible. And then whatever raw material they had with them, whatever, whatever they were working in, that was they were not possible. So so the first thing which we realized was that they need, some kind of, and they were asking, we didn't realize, they only said that we want to have a house repair. So one loan was a house repairing loan. So this was so then we saw that it was first was of course for a roof, but then they were saying that I want to have a water tank, and I want to have one more room, and those kinds of things. But what we saw from that was that their productivity went increased. Their and their one thing was, of course, that productivity also increased because of this. So this was something, I'll talk about that later, that how housing, then in the next stage we went into the housing per se, and then I'll talk about that in housing, when they had a proper house with them, how they were able to really earn more. So this is basically so I think then, but what we saw was that they were doing the businesses. They were already, saving a lot also. They are coming out of debts also. But we saw, I'm talking about 90s now, but we saw that in spite of all this, what was happening was that if there was one sickness in the family, one accident, or any kind of natural calamity, and then there was a time when they had to again go back to money lenders, or they had to, whatever money was saved, it was also expended on that. So then what we decided, what we realized and what we decided, that can we have some kind of insurance for them. But this insurance also has story. In 80s also, I'll tell that story, insurance story. What happened was that, it was in 70s, it was not even 80s also. What happened was that, one woman died who was a member of Seva. And she was so poor that, even she was for all the kind of rituals, she didn't have her family members didn't have any money. So all those women came together. They said, at least, hamara kafan to seva ka hoga. So they all, contributed it, and then of course all the rituals also happened. But that was the point when people then they decided, it's basically a concept of insurance. So they decided that, we should have some kind of, they didn't say insurance, but they said we should have some kind of contribution. Contribution, so that, we can help others when they are in need. But that was the beginning. But then also we realized that, that there is a need for insurance. We went for insurance company, and the insurance company told us that no, these women are not, they are very risky, and they are not cannot be insured. So of course, 11, so we definitely fought with them and said that, hey, how can that happen? And we started an insurance of 1,000 rupees of LIC. And that was they were already saving. So 100 rupees saving was there. So 6% was interest. So that's out of that 6% interest, we will give it to insurance company. So that's how it happened. But what happened that, we decided that, and it was for 50,000 women, we did it. But the problem was that, they didn't understand what insurance is, and we also could not do that. So at the end of the year, majority of women came to us and told us that, I didn't die, so give us our money back. So we realized that no, it's not that, just you can't have one product, but unless you make them understand the importance of product, how it works, it will not work. And that is how we started our insurance training, and we started it. And then of course the first micro insurance we did it was an integrated insurance where life was there, widow, husband life was also there, and sickness, so medical was also there, and other asset kind of things. So that's how we started our insurance. We were the first to start insurance has lots of stories. We have lots of stories for this also. But so that was 80s, that things happened. Then the other thing happened that those women who had already started more and more expanding their businesses, and then majority of that work was done manually. So then they decided. Then what we were seeing was that many of these women were coming to us and they were saying that we want to buy more tools because they didn't have their own tools. So they'd say, for example, I'll just give you one example. We had carpenters. I think only in Gujarat or only in Ahmedabad there are women carpenters, of course, who are from Rajasthan. So they were making small kind of tables, tables and so those kinds of furnitures, and they were selling it in the flea market. So they were all doing everything manually. They were doing. So one woman said, and they came and she said that why don't you give us a loan for buying a cutting machine? And then we saw that, oh yes, which is required. And then we went to her home, and then we found that she wanted a machine, but she even didn't have electric connection in the home. So then first thing which we did was that we gave her a loan for connection, and also, of course, it was also difficult. But then we had to go to the municipal corporation and tell them that this has to be given to them, because it was not. They were not. It was not there for them to bring it. So then what we realized, this was the first thing which we see. But what we realized in this was that when they had their machines, and then lots of other women, they had this kind of machines. What we saw was that because they had this machine, three things happened. One thing happened that her productivity increased. Second thing, what happened was that, of course, productivity increased, so her income was also had increased. But the third thing, which was very important, was that her drudgery has gone down. And this is so. And what I'm saying is that this is how we understand that what are the indicators for giving a loan, and this was the biggest indicator for us. And now, of course, many of them have tools, and of course, then we give it for hypothecation, and those kinds of things are also there. So from non-collateral to collateral, but the thing was that that increasing productivity, increasing income, and at the same time, you have to have reduce the drudgery. So similarly, now I'll talk more in detail about housing. As I said, I gave you only one example, but then what we realized, there were so many things which they needed. The first thing, of course, they needed was, that I said about the roof. But then the other things were also like electricity. We saw that, electricity, they don't have electricity in their home. So we also started, and then we have to work with other organizations like, like a municipal corporation, that, though they are living in slums, why can't you provide it to them? But when they started getting this, then also the productivity kept on increasing, because they were even earning during working during night also. Vegetable vendors, they also had some kind of lights there, so they could also do it in sell it in evening also. So electricity became the other thing. Was also like, many women were garment makers, but those garment makers were making, the machine was there, but it was a manual machine. So once when the electricity came in, then they started buying a motorized machine, and that motorized machine started also increasing their productivity. So this is what so electricity is very important. Water, water having, clean water having is also very important. Even I'm talking in urban area, they didn't have their own taps in their homes. And what was happening, that first thing was that they had to go to the main place and fetch water. It was more time, but there were so many quarrels also happening during that period. And then when there's a quarrel, then police comes and they had to spend money, and all those things were also happening. But the most important thing, of course, clean water and those kinds of things were there. But we even didn't know what, they said that now our children can go to the schools. And then we said, how can we, what is connection with water and children's education? They said that when we didn't have water in our home, we were not able to send our boys or girls, our children, to schools, because they could not clean their, they could not take bath during early morning. And the teachers were telling them that you are very dirty and we will not keep you here. So when they had this water, so there are so many. I think when you give one kind of load, and when that one product, when you convert it into a product, then it gives so much of impact in the lives of these people. That's what we have seen, and this is what we
yeah, and this is what for one loan
linkages, and then we are learning from this. So the other thing, what we also, that was also sorry, I forgot that. So there, anyway, it will come back to me when I'll say this. So yes, income. In the same way, what was happening was that same thing. Water connected only. See, there were many vegetable vendors, and these many vegetable vendors, they had to go to the wholesale market early in the morning to get all the vegetables, and then they will sell it in. But because they had to go for fetching water, they were not able to go early in the morning. And when they were going late in the afternoon there, the prices of that product was increasing. And that was the reason why their profit was less. But when, that they had this water there, they could go early in the morning, and then you won't believe their income had increased by 50% just because of that. So there are these are few things where I would say that, and housing, we had become, housing is our biggest thing. Now, of course, it's the third generation, second generation, third generation, and they have now this affordable housing is coming in. So so many of we have now also giving loan of 15 lakh, 20 lakhs to those women, and they have their own houses, pakka houses. This is what we have. They have. Similarly, we so the in terms of the impact, the processes, I would say that initially, I'm talking about sometimes second generation, third generation, or it could be first generation also. That, initially when we were giving them loans, many of them were doing job work, like garment maker, but she's doing job work on contract basis. Of course, what they were doing was that, all the job work they were working, and they were more getting wages. But when they started getting, but they had skill of themselves. So, but when they started, expanding the business, and they saw that, there's a money, working capital is there. So when they were expanding, they wanted to expand the business. So they, instead of doing job work, they said, I will do it on our own. They started doing that work on their own. So first stage, I would say the first stage is that, they would start her own work. But the second stage, what we saw was that then, say for example, food processing women, Pani Puri, Golgappa Wali, so many Golgappa Wali women were doing on contract basis. But once they had their own more money, they started making on their own. And when they were making on their own, they thought that, why should, then they had to sell it. So the husbands, they brought their husbands or the children in that they had cart, and then they were selling it in the market also. So it was like, single to that, it became a family business. And now I'm not saying everybody, but at least I'm saying 30 to 40% of women, now they have become entrepreneurs. Of course, not SMEs, I would say, but they have become entrepreneurs. The same Pani Puri wala, she has become an entrepreneur now, and then now she is even employing others, employing other women with them. So it is, and this is not only one, there are so many, like, there one woman who was making bangles, who was selling bangles, but then she saw that, I can also make it. So a small machine of 10,000 rupees, she took it, and her husband was also with her, of course. But then they started growing and growing and growing, and now she has two, I won't say she's saying factories, but small, I would say workshops. She has two workshops, and now she is making designer bangles, so marriage bangles and all those things. And she's employing 80%. So I'm not saying that the process will be going to for everyone like the same thing, but this is what we have seen. The first thing is that, of course, the business is expanding. Second thing, in terms of savings, initially they were just saving for rainy days, and every day they will save. And Elaban had told them that, look, this bank is like your temple. So whenever you go in a temple, you will have to, even if you want to withdraw, you will have to put some money in that. So that's what they were doing it. And but they're saving and withdrawing, saving and withdrawing. But slowly, they started understanding it, that yes, there is also importance of, and then we also were talking about fixed deposits, and they loved fixed deposit because interest on interest and all those things. So now there are many who have fixed deposits with them. So savings also, recurring has become also very important. And I'll talk about financial literacy later on, then I will tell you some things. So this would be, I think, in 90s, it would be like this, but it was in 2000. In 2000, before 2000, 1999 or 1998, Harvard, the impact study came. And in the impact study, it came that two things came in. One came that, yes, they are able to earn income, they are able to build their income, and they are able to build assets, but they are still going back to money lenders. And this was the time when we thought that, I mean, we somehow we knew it, but and the Harvard School said that it is because of they have two things. One is that incidence of sickness is so high with them, so they have to spend a lot of money. And second is that all those social occasions and they have marriages and all this, that they are spending a lot of money. But I mean, of course, this was all true, but we realized that at least in urban area, we were showing that there is a cash flow in the home. Everybody's home, there is some cash flow because 2 persons or 3 persons are earning and they are also doing in multiple businesses. So they have some money, it's not that they don't have cash flow in this, but there must be some reason, there must be something on the financial behavior. We of course know that, they, I mean, they were drinking and those kinds of things also we knew, but so we did our own study for 400% study. It's not research, but study that let us understand their financial behavior. What is the financial behavior? And then we saw that, there were four things with that. The first thing was that because they are used to earn on day-to-day basis, so they were also used to live on day-to-day basis. So it was kind of aaj kamaya, aaj khaya. They were, kind of, they were not thinking about tomorrow. That was the first thing. I'm saying not 100%, but majority of them. And the second thing which was related to this was that because they were, they were not thinking about tomorrow, what was happening was that then they were making impulsive decisions because they want to borrow, because kal mein paisa ki zarurat hai. So then she would borrow from her, borrow from money lenders. So that was also, and the third thing which was very important was that for any kind of life cycle need, whether there is a marriage in the family or somebody is sick or she wants to buy a machine, she would use only one service and one product, I would say, and that is credit. They would never use any other like saving or insurance. So that this is what we saw, that this is that they are still borrowing. And the fourth thing was that they are always dealing with cash, never managing finance. This was so that was the reason why then we thought that let us have some kind of counseling. It's not financial literacy also didn't come at that time. So we're not talking about financial literacy, we're saying that no, we should provide some kind of counseling to them. Our first project was with, I think, Citibank. And that was, we gave name tomorrow project of tomorrow, the think about tomorrow kind of thing. And that's how we started our financial literacy program. But it was also what we thought that, let us go to this all American and Australian and all books and like try to understand, how this not how this happens, literacy kind of thing happens. But then, so the first thing is goal setting. So we started asking all women, okay, aapka kya goal hai? What is your sapna? What is your goal? And they started crying. It became very emotional. They started crying. And it was also at the time when, we had in Gujarat this riots. So many of them were very scared of it. So they were saying, we even don't know what will happen tomorrow, whether we'll be alive or died. So, how can we think about tomorrow? Kind of. I mean, so we realized that this is not going to work this way. So we thought, let us do our own way, because positive thing is always positive, and that's saving is something which is giving them a hope. So we thought, let us start with saving first. So that is a positive thing. But of course, then we started with that. But the thing was that importance of planning. We talked with them and we made lots of films on this, and that it's very important to think about tomorrow kind of thing. I'll not go much in details about this. The second thing was that, as I said, what we were doing was that we were taking financial concepts. Say, for example, concept of power of compounding. And then we will weave it in our way. And then we'll make them some examples. We'll give some examples, some stories. We were doing films, we were making stories, role plays, and all those things. So the first was planning, importance of planning. Second was saving. But and we also saw that even today also, when we first of all we say that, oh, why don't you save money? They will say, "Khane ka nahi hai kaise? We don't have even money to eat. How can we save?" So that always was there. So we talked with them about it. Okay, you write your daily expenses, and then out of that, what expenses is avoidable, you can avoid it. And then, okay, then 5 rupees, 10 rupees, chai come pro. So tea, no something, those kinds of things. And then, okay, then we were talking about power of compounding. Ki one day is 10 rupees, now 100 rupees ho gaya. So 1 day 10 rupees can become this much, and then after 10 years it becomes this much. So I would say power of compounding is the thing which helps. This is what we have seen. So this is a saving. We were talking about loan, not much about it. We were just talking about productive and unproductive, use it for productive purpose. Interest rate fell for flat rate was there earlier. So we were saying that, reducing balance. And so those kinds of some kind of skill, but it's just expanding that, expanding. And then insurance, and then the last was, of course, investment. But investment is also part of compounding. I will not go much into detail about it. But prepare your plan. Very simple. Budget and plan. That is very simple. So this is something about financial literacy. We are still doing it and expanding in a different ways. But these are all basic things which we would do. Now the last thing which I will say. The last thing is that, it is, but I would say when you are saying 70s, 80s, 90s, 20s, whatever, basically, कहते हैं ना, इसका मूल जो था, वो जो था, that was already there. कि ये होना चाहिए, ये होना, I mean, this should happen, this should happen, this should happen. But earlier we were learning and doing it, but slowly we started converting into products and services, adding more services into it, kind of thing. So it was not last, I would say, but to us it was last. That because what we saw, as you know, Sevas, all leaders, all women are leaders. And they are very brave and leaders, and we saw that first generation, we saw that these women are really leaders. They were leaders. They were good repayers. They were good savers. But when they became old and were not able to work more, they became very vulnerable. And, of course, their children were there. It was not that children were not helping, but children were also not that, they also didn't have much money, and they were really becoming very vulnerable. This is what we saw. And that was the time when we decided that, we should have some kind of a pension. Though, I mean, it didn't come to our mind, but that some kind of old age security, we should do something for this. And then that's what we started, that we designed our own product. 7%, I still remember, 7% interest rate. And we had a big function on this. It was in big hall. And it went into the press also. So next day, RBI wrote to us, how can you have any product of more than 10 years? You have to withdraw that. So then we could not do it. So we had, we could have done it. We were also that, it could have remained for 10 years, and then it could be renewed. So that could have been, we could have done that. But then then we realized that if we need to have some kind of pensions, we should start it with we should do it collaborate with some other organization. And fortunately, what happened that, at that time, NPS Sarkar was doing it, but it had not happened. So we were, and I was somehow or other, I was in this advisory board of this, and Mr. Yuka Sinha was there. He was secretary of pension in that case. So, and what would happen was, if you remember, NPS was started, but it started for government employees.
Yeah.
So then, it was working for government employees. And I kept on saying that, this was made for informal sector, but it is not working in informal sector. It is just for employees. And I don't mind this, but basically, when will we start it? And unfortunately, after that, Yukasenna Saab became chairman of UTI. So he must have remembered this in the pension for informal sector. So he came to Seva Bank. First thing he said, what he did was that he said that, let us go to the field. And he went to the field and asked all women about their passbooks. I think he just wanted to know that, are they saving regularly or not. And then he came to bank, and then he saw our technology. And we had some IT and all those things. So then he said, okay, the minimum amount was 5,000 rupees per year. We said 5,000 rupees per year to bilkul impossible hai. So they will not, at least for pension is the last thing for month per year. And then they also decided that. And we started this. It was very difficult. One was that first challenge is that they are saying that, you plan it for so many years, for 50 years, 60 years. First time when you go to that woman, she would say, alive for 60 years. Subsequently, the first thing will come to that. So second thing will come was this was not a recurring account that they will have saving percentage, this percentage savings. This was UTI, this was the mutual fund. So mutual fund interest, they don't know what interest will be there. So we ourselves went to UTI, learned about this whole mutual fund, how it works. And then we also explained to them also that, this is how UTI works, and this is not UTI, so mutual fund works. We were also surprised, NAV and all those. Slowly, we were just talking with them, and then said, we know that, Reliance shares also comes up and down. So that's how this will happen. So some women might be doing it, not everybody. But we started it, and immediately 25,000 women joined it. I think the only thing was that in that also only power of compounding. This is what we did. And that UTI helped us, is that, if you are 18 years and if you save, even 50 rupees or 100 rupees for 58 years or whatever is the years, then you will have this much of lump sum, and then every month you will get this much of pension. And it came to the level that we had to do lots of conference, meetings with them, and we were bringing mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, or mother and daughter, and then we'll say that. Then mother will say, I'm suffering, so at least my daughter should not suffer. Or daughter will say, I'm not, I don't want to suffer like my mother. So some thoda emotional products. Of course, two things was there. One was that it was a demand. There was no demand for it. There was a need for this, but there was no demand for it. It was the biggest challenge, that, to create that demand.
Create the demand.
Second thing was, it was very long term. So long term, will it definitely work? The third thing was, it was a new product. It was all mutual fund and all those things. So there were lots of challenges. But the only thing I think what helped was power of compounding. I would say power of compounding. And then that is also because every month they were seeing that the statements. Of course, it was in English. The only thing they understood was that, yes, I had contributed this much, and my total amount is this much. So that, and fortunately, 13% return was always there. At least, somehow or other day, but I guess. So this is something which was, and it is still going on. Then, of course, NPS came, and then APY came, and all those things came. So then when NPS came, we had a problem, because NPS government was saying that you are informal sector and you should come with us. Why are you with UTI? And then, and of course, there was motivation also, because 1,000 contribution was coming. So we were also, we didn't know what to do, because we can't close this. So I went to 11. To be mentioning, whenever we have these kinds of problems, we do go to 11. And I went to 11. I said, what can we do? UTI is doing very well, and why? And we had to go to NPS also because they'll get contribution, co-contribution also 1,000 rupees per year is very good. So she said, why don't you ask them? Why ask me? Go and ask to those women that, what should they do? And they said, hum dono karenge. We'll do both. so it solved the problem. So this was something, yeah. So this is, that our basic objective from beginning, not objective, but our approach was life cycle needs. Key, how, because ultimately, it's a lifelong relationship with those women. So how can you meet with all their products and all services? How can you use all services for a long time? So this is basically working on life cycle needs.
So, Jayashree, now while discussing in between, you said about financial literacy, and we also know that SEWA took the initiative in this Indian School of Microfinance for Women. Then, what are the exactly your approach to financial literacy with, of course, your people who were part of the SEWA family and also outside, because ISMW did the financial literacy work outside the SEWA family also.
Yeah. So this is something, see what happened was that FWWB and, SEWA Bank and FWWB were also sister organizations and working together. And as individuals also, I and VG were, very working together, almost kind of thing. So whenever you must have been seeing also in Southern also, wherever we go together. So initially, because FWWB also was going with so many small organizations, and so I was also going with them, and there we were doing lots of small trainings, trainings of this, not only financial literacy, but on microcredit and some kind of financial literacy, do saving and all those kinds of things. So, and what we were seeing was there was so much of response which we were getting from those women, particularly about saving and other things. Also, they were talking about their life. So that's what we were seeing. So VG and I, not as individuals, but as an organizations, we thought that, why can't we? And at that time, of course, there were not many training organizations also. So, that we decided that why don't we start an organization. So it's a school basically. So Indian school, that's what, a school where the different types of trainings can be given to these organizations, all organizations, and basically to women. That's what our objective was. But we started at the time where almost this Andhra crisis came in. So training in microfinance organizations was not becoming much more. But there's also this money was the fund was given by Citibank only. So Citibank had given us this financial literacy program first. So they had seen that this was very effective, and this is really women where one woman would learn about this and just go to bank's counter and open an account, those kinds of things. So it was very effective. They also saw that that financial literacy was very effective. So they said, why don't you have one center for financial literacy for in Indian School of Microfinance also? So then we started with all microfinance organizations and started talking about, what is financial literacy. And then TOTs, we started doing TOTs with them. And it was also working there. And immediately then this whole financial inclusion concept came in. So I still remember I went to NABARD and we talked about this financial literacy. And Mr. Karmakar was there. So Mr. Karmakar said, only financial literacy doesn't work. You will have to ensure that banks, they understand that, importance of banking also, and also the operations and other things. So we added into the financial literacy plus plus all the products and service, understanding products and services, and then operations and KYC and other things. So that's how we went into the financial inclusion part of it. And then so many TOTs did in financial with bankers and BCs and others also. So that's how the financial literacy came in as became a national thing.
Even one thing many you have seen the growth of the microfinance sector in the country, and many have started off as small organizations and had a fast growth. And many people always say that Seva Bank didn't grow very fast, and it did not try to expand and all. So what do you say about that?
Well, they are right. In a way, whatever they are saying is right. And we should have grown more than what we are growing at present. That's also reality. That's true. I mean, but the thing is that what is happening is that we're always seeing that yes, providing services is okay, but having impact, and that's what I told about this whole the approach of life cycle needs kind of things, that whoever to whomever we are giving this kind of services, at least ensure that they use all the products, it brings impact in their lives. And that is one thing. Second thing is now the small finance banks and everybody has come in, and RBI is very, to me, I feel that it is very liberal in that, lenient and liberal with them. Whereas for us, it was very difficult, because the biggest challenge was that, we were working with all informal sector women workers. And on the other hand, we had to go with all the kind of regulations which, the banks were giving to us. So that was something which was like, we were also learning, and many times, we were not able, we wanted to do something, but we were not able to do something. I'm not blaming the RBI for this, but what I'm saying is, but we should have, we can and we should have grown. I mean, I agree with them, and I'm also learning from majority of them. We are learning with them and trying to be more, more efficient, I would say.
So, Jayashree, what's the reason for Seva Bank confining itself to Gujarat? Did you not think that rest of the country also needs services of an institution like Seva Bank?
No, it is true. That is definitely true. But initially, well, I can't blame anybody. But 11 is always saying that let hundreds, flowers bloom. That kind of things. Where initially we were also seeing that everybody will do it. Everybody will do it, and everybody is doing it also. That's not the point. Now, yes, many people are saying that why are you not converting into cooperative bank, from cooperative bank to a small finance bank. And we are also thinking, but we are also into minds that whether we should remain as a cooperative and small, and or we should grow more. It's a challenge for us. We are also thinking in this line, but I think it has become.
But Jayashree, don't you think that Seva Bank, even personally, I always felt that Seva Bank is a unique model where all your borrowers feel proud that they own the bank. If you change the model, probably if you become a small finance bank or universal bank, the same this thing of sense of ownership may not be there. So
That's definitely, because even I also in this last year only in our board I was putting this point that do we want to convert it into a Small Finance Bank, and there are so many others who are also telling us that we can do partnership with you and those kinds of things. So um, those women were saying, why can't we just remain cooperative? And what you're saying, the same thing they have been saying. But I mean, if being cooperative also, we can become a multiple state cooperative bank also. So I'm not defending anything for this, but we could have done it.
Yeah,
Yes, I would
No,
say. And we can do it now
yeah,
also.
yeah. No, Jayashree, when coming to the cooperative sector, we have because of my experience in NABARD and all, we always felt that the corporate a sector like cooperative is actually necessary for people's direct involvement in financial services, and we have very good examples of Europe, Germany, German cooperatives or the French cooperatives and all, especially in the agri sector and all, they have done very well. And we've also seen that any national level report on cooperatives, it has always say that cooperatives have failed, but in India, cooperatives must succeed. So probably without tinkering with the principle of people's participation now, because now everywhere we say people's participation, probably cooperatives facilitate that. Whereas in other types of organization, we may not be able to have such facilitation. So maybe we may have to have Seva Bank's type of structure only to involve the people's participation.
But we could have grown more. I agree
Rather
with that.
than
Whenever
a
people ask,
commercial banking model. Now, of course, now there is a digitization has become a big slogan. So, to what extent at Seva Bank you have been able to offer the digital financial services to the borrowers?
Oh, good! You asked. I forgot it. Yes, yeah. We started from RuPay card when even the RuPay card had not started and this digital things were not happening. We started from RuPay card to now. I'm very happy to tell you that we have UPI now. So recently, last year we got permission for UPI also, and we are doing financial literacy ke saath, this digital literacy also we have been doing, and slowly women have started understanding it and using it. But I would say 20% of women are using it. We still have to work more on this, and we have our modules and other things prepared, and we are definitely working on it. But we were very happy when UPI started. See what happened. Two things. When demonetization happened, and it was a time when we had just done RuPay cards, and they can also buy from RuPay card, but we were just doing testing of this, and then demonetization came. One day, first day, we saw that there were 1,000 transactions of they had bought maybe petrol, or they had got to hospital and they used it, and so many places they had used it. So we were just testing, but they had already started working on it. Similarly, now is also it has happened. This time also, what we are seeing is that they are using it. UPI though, UPI also we were just doing it, and UPI we saw 100 transactions already had come, because it came in that our bank's name came in the list that there is UPI, but we were actually doing it that real reconciliation and other things we were doing it, and they started using it. So now they have become smarter than us, I think.
So, Jayashree, at your Seva Bank, your women borrowers and women clients, how comfortable are they now in using mobile banking and all?
ATMs, I would say they are very comfortable. In rural area also now they are using it. And we also started first RuPay card only. Then then what we did is SMS and those kinds of things we also started. We were also slowly doing it because we also answered. And then we have apps also, other apps also. So even if they want to see what is their balance, they can see it in on missed call. Then IMPS was started. So IMPS women were feeling very comfortable with that. But now UPI. So last is the UPI. So I would say ATM they love the most, but they slowly are getting into mobile banking also.
Okay.
But we have to work hard on this. Marketing नहीं हम sales training हमारी थोड़ी कम हो रही है अभी इसमें. We want to increase our training.
No, Jayashree, you have seen that along with the Seva movement, the self-help group movement also has grown in India, and with regard to women's empowerment and women's financial sector participation. So, what is your general view as to how this SHG movement, as you have seen over the last 2.5 to 3 decades?
I love SHG movement, and we also started. Of course, I know it happened. It started with Myrada and others. When I joined in Seva Bank, first thing 11 told me that you go to Myrada and Hyderabad, and you see how it is working. And from that day, I was also very impressed with that. And we also did it in a rural area, and we have around 6,000 SHGs also. And it is the best model, I would say. It is something. But what has happened, to be very frank with you, is what has happened is that it has been, what I see is that SHG has been sandwiched between microfinance and government organized because government, the first thing happened was government started doing it. So then the whole, whatever is the concept is now gone. That's something. We have here Sakhi Mandal. So Sakhi Mandal, there's no training, nothing else. But government is also giving them loans. So now even NRLM is doing well. That is very good. That even the government is doing, that is doing very well. But generally, that because I know that all our SHGs were doing very well. They were very, independent. But when the Sakhi Mandal came, they saw that they are getting some more subsidy in this. So then and then there is this leaders are also there. So leaders are also taking them there. So they would go there. So the whole concept of SHG doesn't remain there. Similarly, microfinance is all NBFCs and other. They're all our friends and they're great friends and they're doing very well. But that also happened that just JLG and not doing any saving, nothing, and they would just immediately give money to them, and they keep on giving money to them. Here we are, in SHG, they are so slowly growing and growing, and so that kind of thing was not there. So that and money is money. Women would love it. For us also, it has become very difficult because see, when of course they came in Gujarat very late, but when they started coming in, they were using us, whatever was our positive things, they used it for taking loans from them. Is that they were using, they're saying, look, Seva Bank is telling that you have to save first and then you will be able to get loan. We are not asking you to save. Second thing that, because we are a cooperative, we had to take share. So we are not asking you for any shares. This is today's meeting and I will just give you loans. So that and 2, 3, whatever numbers, they were giving loans. So we were always thinking that, saving first and you save. And here, they and borrowing and no, don't borrow. We're talking about that. And then, so that whole, whatever we had done for so many years, which was changing immediately. Of course, slowly, now they have started understanding, because even if we are giving loan, we are saying that at least, if your installment is this much, you should save 1,000, say for example, 1 month. Now they are saying that if we are taking loan from any microfinance organization, at the end of the day, when the loan is finished, we don't have anything. Whereas here, at least we have 12,000 rupees as our savings. So they understand, they come back, all those things are there. But sorry, Sadhan is, we are all Sadhan people, so
Yeah.
it's all integrated, everybody. But
So, Jayashree, how do you see how this entire now we have in the microfinance sector, now we have various components. We have the for-profit NBFC MFIs. We have not-for-profit Section 8 companies and even societies. Now we have Seva Bank like a cooperative, I would say it is cooperative MFI. Then we have the SHG movement and all. So with all this, how does the future look like for the broader financial inclusion sector?
well, first thing is that finally, all poor people have access to financial services. That's definitely good. And we are also seeing that they are definitely growing, and their businesses are growing, and they have grown basically. So this is definitely a good thing, and microfinance should definitely grow and grow and grow. Definitely, there's no doubt about it. The only thing is multiple. Only thing which is bothering me is that so much of credit,
Yes.
even without even ensuring that it is used for productive purpose. I understand some of it can go for consumption, but you won't believe, there are all these bureaus and everything, but many times when we are seeing this bureau, their statement, there was one woman who had taken 16 loans, and she came to 17th loan to us. And for what? Freeze and this, all those kinds of consumption things. So if it is linked with livelihood, I would say, if it is linked with livelihood, that would definitely be very good. And no restriction, nobody's been keeping any restriction on that. And I think some kind of financial literacy, man mein andar jaye, see, that kind of thing. We were doing it because all those, see what was happening, and the things was that all those, they are telling ring, what is that ring? Those leaders, our leaders, but ringleaders, they're saying ringleaders. So those ringleaders types of people also started coming in our bank also. They were also saying, this, and then we had to organize 4 or 5 meetings. We did organize with them only, and we said that what are you doing with these women? Because they are becoming, their debt is going up and up and up, and they are getting into debt trap. And we have seen many of them are really suffering because of that, because we just borrowing. So, and then they were at least saying that no, we have understood, we are not doing good thing. And I don't know what they were doing later on, but this is something, too much of money in the hands of people without understanding that how to use it.
No, that's also a continuing matter of concern. You also know, for Sadhan also we used to regularly discuss, and of course even now we advise the member institutions on multiple lending and which are the geographies where they have to take care and ensure that every borrower has the ability to repay, has the sources to repay before taking the loan and all. I think yes, that is a matter of concern for all of us, and we'll have to take care of that. Then finally, one last question: what is your message for Sadhan and its future work?
What is my?
What is your message for Sadhan and its work in future?
I see that, I'm always in Facebook and everywhere. I'm learning. I'm seeing it, and I'm very happy that I'm not just telling it because you are here, but you have really changed sadhan, and I'm seeing it that this is sadhan is doing very well, and I'm talking with everybody,
Yeah.
so you are going in all directions and slowly getting into it, and no, I see great, great future for sadhan, and I must congratulate it for that. I'm not just saying for sake of saying it to you, and I know what position was that. You remember that, but you know it more. But now sadhan, its reputation has also grown, and when you are going in the right direction,
Thank you.
there's a great future. There's a great future.
Thank you, and thanks for sparing this time to discuss your thoughts about Seva Bank, financial inclusion, and how the journey has been. And thanks for sparing that. And personally, even now I feel that the Seva Bank model is something which can and should be emulated.
Yeah, no. I am thankful to you that you gave me this opportunity to talk with you.
Yeah.
This.
No, this discussion will be what I can say is that it would be a piece of education and history for all those who want to study about the financial inclusion way it has progressed in the country. Thank you once again, Jai Shri Ben.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.